Hello, and welcome back. I believe this is episode 24. We're really getting up there. And we're jumping back into the same project here. We're probably going to do a short one today. Let's go ahead and take a look. So here is the project as we left it off. The only thing I did is I just touched the ending synth just a little bit less volume. Nothing major. I just did it out of habit, honestly. So here's where we're at. And it's just a string drone right now. So there's a couple things I want to touch on. So these horns are driving me crazy. They're just not hitting the mark that I want them to hit. So I think we're gonna explore some synth options and maybe switching it out for like something that's like a little more synth related, a little less true to the instrumental, especially if we're bringing in like such a synth based element towards the end here. That's something to consider, and maybe we could do something a little lighter earlier on just to give it a little motif. Also, I think with this, I'm kind of hung on this because it's definitely it's quite the move. It's a big change compared to the other stuff, and it's a little slower, but it has these big moments. I think we're going a little too heavy-handed with this, though. What would it be? Fast end? Now let's start from the start. I think something like this might be more appropriate. Let's even start it a little bit before to get a little bit of context. So we'll go with the record. Let's pull up our mixer as well. So I'm thinking that's a little better for this. It's something I'm really liking. So this cello part's still a little bit up in the air. I really like those seconds. So let's try something different here. Because I want to have it a little bit more consistent of a part, especially with those bump dun 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 dun. So we have bump dun 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 dun. Okay. So let's see. Dun 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 dun. So this is like symmetrical, or it's like a repetition. So I'm thinking we'll do more of these because I like that a lot. I can bring those down. Let's back this up. So this, I believe, and this one has to go up. Okay, so these a little more symmetrical. Whoa, I want the whole dang thing. All right, there we go. And on the second one, I'm wondering is so I'm thinking that gives a little bit more variance in texture. So I think this could do a little different. That first one decided it did not want to fire off. Okay, that's a little bit more of the effect we're going for. I do think once these have stuck the ending, we can have this maybe hold the note. So let's jump into here. Whoa, we're gonna make this real painful, aren't we? Oh boy. Okay. So since it's gonna be extra difficult for me, we're going to, oh well, we'll have to do them separately, won't I? Let me just glue these. That way, that is the whole part we're looking at. Go ahead and grab this. Now it works nice and smoothly for us. I also turned up the audio just a little bit on the stream. I don't know if I'm peeking you guys out here, but I just found myself talking quieter, so I figured let's turn it up a little bit. The music gets loud on its own. It's just kind of naturally quiet when you solo stuff, so I didn't want to play with that too much. Okay, and then let's take this last note. And let's just see how long we can hold this guy. I'm imagining... Yeah, you can tell a sound isn't working when I have to add all these extra plugins. That's how you know something was not hidden correctly. Alright, so we will go back to the start, and I don't mind doing this little change. There's no big deal. Let me see here. Yeah, so I'm gonna move it up 4. So it starts on 45, but this gives us the ability to key switch. There we go. And we want the first one to be staccato. But before that last note, we want it to go to a sustain. It's doing the thing again. Alright, that's alright. And I believe we already glued it, so we should be able to pull it without too much trouble. There we go. And we'll go back here, go ahead and extend it just a little bit. And we'll fix the offset. And now we'll go down for those keystrokes. And we'll do this one like that. And I think that matches the first one. Nope, it's a little short. Let's extend it out and let's go ahead and give it a listen. Love how this isn't going on the first one again. Roll my eyes. All right. Let's try it again. Something like that. We're just finding a nice way for the chords to fall. Okay, I'm thinking that works a little better for our purposes. So let's go ahead and start it a little bit before and listen to it in context with that synth. I've had just about enough of this synth acting up, so we're going to go ahead and just render it as an audio track. Fingers crossed it does 4, and of course it doesn't. Maybe this is crazy, but we're going to try the exact same thing again. Time we're going to start it over here. I don't know what this could possibly do. It is being unreasonable, so we're going to try an unreasonable tactic here. Why do you do this to me? Alright. It is being extra frustrating here. Let's go back and see how we can get this to fire. Why is it doing this? It's almost like it's lost on the first one. Maybe we can feed it a MIDI note that it can't play. If we go over here and we make it I'm gonna try this again. Let it run its course. Oh, there must be a way to tell it don't start until it starts. Dang, I'd have to look that up to figure it out. Alright, we're gonna try to do our cheat one more time. I'm hoping having the windows open makes it think harder. Dang, it loses it again. Why does it do it sometimes, but not all the time? I don't understand where it's coming from. And it has such a long linger that I feel like doing it earlier probably won't help. I think it's going to interfere no matter what. Like, let's say I did that. Let's say I do that. How does it react to rendering down? Maybe I could do it at the very beginning if that allows it, but even then, that seems so dumb. No, it still killed it on that note. Why? What is happening with this? Why is this like this? You think it would be... Something about this is just not hitting properly. I don't know why. Just... on with this thing. And now it's broken. Wow, this has been shockingly annoying to work with. Okay, well, oh man, first it was the horns, and now the synth is falling apart. This song is driving me crazy. I don't know why it's not initializing when it's supposed to. The whole thing's not working. Alright, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take Reaper, we're gonna save it, we're gonna shut it down, and we're gonna reload it. This is not ideal, but I don't want to put together that synth part again, because we've already taken it apart and done it again once. I really don't want to do it again. And I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I should save it as its own preset. That way, if it does this again, I could reload the preset instead of having to reload the program. But let's see if this works first. This has been pretty tricky to get things to work the way they're supposed to. I mean, the horns, it's just tricky because it's the articulation that I was looking for wasn't really what the symphonic orchestra was able to give. But now I'm like, dang, I almost missed the symphonic orchestra sound. Alright. Let's see what we got. Crazy. It's like it's a completely different preset. I'm going to do battle horn variant. Let's go. Killing me with this. Interesting. So maybe it's not just maybe it's something deeper that's going on. Maybe rid of that instance of Massive X. I mean, we're just going through troubleshooting hard on this one. Let's go browse. Let's go to user presets. Let's go to my variant. What is going on with this? Let's go to battle horn. And we're back. What happened? Well, 2 to 3. That's all we have to remember. That is all I'm going to do for it, because I'm tired of picking up the pieces here. So, add one there, take this there, go right there. But don't tell me I lost the cutoff. I probably lost that cutoff. I sure did. Lovely. Alright. Well, we'll just pick up where we left off then. And of course we're guesstimating here. I believe this one's something like this. And we'll just put them all up there for the moment. Must have been something in here that messed with it. Alright. And we'll even go something like that. Because I think this is kind of the action that we were working with. And this one, this one, this one. Going fast and not going to make it easy for us, so we're going to go ahead and do each one manually. I should have done that one, I bet. It's okay. I don't believe it did this. while we have this thing working correctly, see if we can get 4 strikes out of this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boy, did we earn that. Okay. We're just going to leave this as is. We're not going to mess with it. If we need to go in and adjust something, we have it right there, but we know that this is a fickle pickle and it will destroy itself at any given chance. So we're going to hopefully not give it the chance to destroy itself. Wow, that was a lot. I do feel like it is a little more dialed in, so I think that is closer to the angle we want. We're looking at about 30 minutes here, so I'm not going to go too much longer. I said it was going to be a short one today. What would we like to do next? And we do have some of the cello parts, so let's listen to that back, going to the synth without having to deal with all the errors. I would imagine that would go back into something like the intro. So let's just see what that looks like. Those are a little too quiet, and it never transitioned back out of the staccato. So, fair enough, fair enough. Let's actually go in here and add that, just to make sure it is not going to have that problem every time we go to play this thing over. So now I'll start staccato every time. And where this one is, we can go ahead and put a staccato, I believe, at the very end there. And that should tell it, for the whatever the next part may be, we are going back to the way it was, the simpler time. Time where you just really played one note. So that was a little quiet in there, but we could definitely bring something out from like in here. Maybe like these. Really need to be this long. And we can have it jump back into a big section and then kind of round it out. This is 14 bars, so once this ends, we have that. We're looking at 18. This is kind of an awkward section here. And I wouldn't mind if it starts off a little quieter and kind of builds into its own. So let's do something like that. And then we'll keep that one highlighted while we do this one. And we're just kind of matching. We're just making sure they're both in the same ballpark. See, that one stops about there. And this one stops about there. There you go. That one builds much more efficiently out of that. So let's give the whole thing a listen. This I would love to mess with. But I don't know if that's something I want to crack into today, or maybe that will be the start of the next video and we'll just do fixing these horns. Because today we really just kind of built in the cello a little bit more. We've kind of created a more refined part. I think the cello is really the star of this piece so far. And I like the melody of this to a certain degree. Maybe something like that. And I'm thinking these could be a little softer spoken. Something like that. I'm thinking this could use something like that, maybe? Let's offset it a little bit. That way it gives each note a chance to speak. Maybe not. We'll take that off for now. But it is a thought. It is a consideration that maybe we will jump back into this after that finishes, which would line up something like this. That's an idea. I think maybe we would take this section and have that play primarily. So if we were to do that, let's say we take off this and we drop these into where it goes. Obviously it doesn't land just right. Okay. I was thinking cutting that off. So, ending in something like that. And that would be closer to our 2-minute mark, which we're shooting for. If we do something like that, let's take this one and we'll pop that one out one more. Alright, now we'll go drop these in. Let's see if we can add two. Okay. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Matter of fact, let's give it a save. And I'm even thinking, And that puts a little button on it. Let's go ahead and let's see, camera's still working. We're at 47 minutes. Oh, maybe it's an average size one today. Riser coming in there. Notice that this is cutting out a little early because that's where I thought we'd end it. So let's go ahead and pop in here, go ahead and extend this out, and I think these will be our final moves of the night. Got all that. And let's go ahead and extend this out a little bit. A little anticlimactic. It's not the perfect ending. We're not there yet. But I do think that adds some gravitas. And let's say we started this over right there. I almost wonder what it would sound like if we offset it here. And to be fair, this is truly the start of it. And so if that's the case, this would be closer to that. Something like that would be there. So let's go ahead and save it. Let's jump it from the top and let's give it a whirl. Actually, I got one more edit. I'm thinking about cutting something, so this is where the full thing comes in. Maybe we take out one of the leads there. Okay, let's start it from the top. wood block a little more in the back. A little bit more. Okay. So that is what we are looking at. Let me listen to the wood block in this last one. That's about the amount of volume I'm looking for that one. Alright. Well, thank you for watching. I tried to keep it a little short. It looks like we're about at an hour anyways. But yeah, feel free to throw a comment down there. Feel free to like, subscribe if you want to see more. There's a notification bell. I'm trying to keep it consistent, but there are days where we don't. I'm going to start streaming pretty soon, and when that happens, we will have to have a more definite schedule. But until then, I will be back again tomorrow if all things go well. And we should be able to chunk out a bigger piece of this. We've kind of got the length we're looking for. Maybe I can go in and put markers for the structure. And we could look at spending time taking apart these horns, whether we want to layer new stuff in there, whether we want to replace it completely. We'll have to kind of figure that out. But I think there's a little bit more cleanup on the track just as far as like getting colors and markers for sections. But as it stands right now, we have a pretty good baseline to work from here. Pretty soon, once we stop adding extra layers, we'll be more in like the processing side and less the writing side. But I'm pretty happy with it. I like those big synths. I think that's kind of a neat thing. Maybe it's a little polarizing. Let me know if you hate it. But otherwise, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.